Well, you've heard of clickbait headlines. Have you ever heard of a click deterrent headline? Hi, I'm Scott Ott with Bill Whittle and Stephen Green. This episode of Right Angle is brought to you by the members at BillWhittle.com. And gentlemen,
every right angle title ever.
The click deterrent headline that I found was actually in the New York Times, but I read stuff even if I'm not interested in it because I feel it's my moral obligation to do so. And this is an opinion piece, so it's on the op-ed page, as we used to say back in the day, of the New York Times. And it says this: Hillary Clinton, I've debated Trump and Biden. Here's what I'm watching for. Now, this isn't going to be speculation about how Thursday night's debate is going to go. In fact, you may not even see this until after it's already gone. So that really doesn't matter to me. But gentlemen, what I found interesting about this is I thought, okay, this is the only person who has debated both Joe Biden and Donald Trump in a presidential race. And this headline is pitching us on the fact that she can tell us what she's watching for because she's had those experiences. As I do, I read through the whole thing, Stephen Green. And
you took one for the team there, Scott.
The promise of the headline was sadly not delivered. However, I do want to read you, and it's a little bit of a lengthy excerpt here, but this gives you a sense of the insight that you're going to get if you read this column from Hillary Clinton about what she's looking for in the debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And here it goes, and I'll read it quickly. This is near the end. Mr. Trump has been convicted of 34 felonies and found liable for sexual assault and financial fraud. He spent a lifetime putting himself first. If he gets back to the White House, we'll have more inflation and less freedom. It won't be just a rerun of his first term. Since losing in 2020, Mr. Trump has become angrier and more unhinged. His former Secretary of Defense says he's a threat to democracy. His former Chief of Staff says he has nothing but contempt for our democratic institutions, our Constitution, and the rule of law. Remember that on Thursday, when you hear Mr. Trump recite his grievances and vow retribution. By contrast, Mr. Biden is a wise and decent man who is fighting hard for working families. Yes, he's 81. That's just 3 years older than Mr. Trump. And his lifetime of service and experience helps him get things done that make our country stronger and all of our lives better. From bringing Democrats and Republicans together to fix crumbling roads and bridges to standing up to Russian aggression. The election, Steve, is between a convicted criminal out for revenge and a president who delivers results for the American people. No matter what happens in the debate, that's an easy choice. Steve?
That's the Hillary light touch I've come to remember at last.
How well did the New York Times deliver on that headline that we would get some insight from this former presidential candidate on what she'll be looking for in Thursday's debate?
Yeah, that was not what she's looking for. That wasn't analysis of what the candidates might do or possibly should do in the debate. It was, here's why Trump is evil, here's why Biden is awesome. You don't have to watch the debate because I've told you. And the thing is, Hillary has a new book out. I think it's called Things I Didn't Write That You Shouldn't Read. And I don't know if you've seen the cover of this book. I just saw it on Twitter. Excuse me. I just saw it on X this morning because somebody tweeted it. No, they posted it. I'm trying to think of a way to describe Hillary Clinton on the cover of this book. I want you to imagine that a brand new programmer, a guy who's never written an app or a plugin of any kind before, but has been maybe playing around with that playground app on his iPad, and has written a Madame Tussauds TikTok filter as his very first effort. And he's also never actually seen a photograph of Hillary Clinton. And so he's just been described.
We built her the best way we could. We didn't have any plans to work with.
And this is how heavily photoshopped Clinton is on the cover of this book. Bill, I don't know if legally you can flash a screen cap.
Oh, I'd be delighted to. No, I will definitely put it up there.
Good, because I think this is fair use here. This criticism.
Oh, well, yes.
Oh, she'll think it'll help her sell books.
It's just the most
I think it'll help her sell candles.
horrid thing I've ever seen. And I've been writing about politics for more than 20 years. And that is this column, Scott. It is the Madame Tussaud, whatever the hell her name is, TikTok filter of New York Times op-ed columns about the debate. It's just fake, and it's nasty, and it's everything you would expect from Hillary Clinton.
You know, Bill Whittle, I guess the reason why I brought this to you guys as a topic was not that I didn't expect Hillary Clinton to be cravenly political and a big backer of Joe Biden and a big enemy of Donald Trump, but it just, I don't know, it just seemed to me that they squandered an excellent opportunity here. I mean, from their perspective anyway, you've got the New York Times has an opportunity to talk to the only person who has debated both of these guys, and shouldn't the editors have gone to her and said, look, this is what we want. What are Joe Biden's strengths and weaknesses as a debater? What are Donald Trump's strengths and weaknesses? If you were counseling Trump, what would you say to him about how he should go after Biden? And if you were counseling Biden, what would you say to him? Like, that might have been an interesting sort of tactical or strategic view of the debate from somebody who has rare firsthand experience. Why is that such an unreasonable expectation on my part?
Well, after that rant that you read, I'd like to just say the one thing that's interesting about the three debaters in question is that two of them became president of the United States.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Sick burn.
So if you were to take what if you were to assume that Hillary Clinton had the strength of character to actually do that, you'd have half an article. The first half of the article would be, well, I've debated Joe Biden, and basically the thing you want to do with Joe Biden is you want to see if you can catch his nasty side. He's not a particularly nice guy. Poke him where he's tender. See if you can get him to flare up. He's running as kind of, old Uncle Joe, the kindly old uncle. If you're going to debate Joe Biden, the thing to watch out for, and Joe Biden needs to be careful of, is not to get angry, because I think that's really where his real weakness is. Now, as far as Donald Trump is concerned, in terms of what I would advise to beat Donald Trump, I really can't do that, because frankly, he handed me my ass on 3 separate occasions. So I really can't address that part of the issue. Thanks for tuning in to the New York Times, everybody, and we'll be looking for your subscription dollars.
That's it. I guess rolling. I should lower my expectations. When I was in college, I went to school for journalism, and we had a journalism professor who was actually an excellent professor. And I remember hearing from him that phrase, those two phrases that they refer to the New York Times as the gray lady, this distinguished eminence in the field of journalism, and also the paper of record. And every paper around the country for decades has kind of looked to the New York Times as the agenda-setting news organization because they were revered among journalists anyway. And I think what bothers me more than the fact that they didn't write the kind of article that I think some people would have wanted to read was that they tried to make you think that they had. Now, they didn't do it. Hillary Clinton's writers did it, but they tried to sell you on something that didn't exist in the story at all. Like there was no hint of any kind of insight that she got from her debates with both of these people. And they literally should have put a headline on it that said, sponsored message from the Democratic National Committee and the Joe Biden campaign. Because that's exactly what it was. It was nothing but just an attack on Donald Trump. It was, and I don't care if people attack Donald Trump. He can take it. He's got a thick skin. And it was just boosting of Joe Biden with zero insight. Somewhere out there's got to be somebody who debated Joe Biden at a much lower level in history, like, in the 1970s or something, who would probably give us better insight than Hillary Clinton was able to do. So I think you're going to get the insight from if you actually watch this debate. My prediction is that it will be one of the more cringeworthy events of the year, and it will make you sad about many things. But it's clear that Hillary Clinton not only has the freshness date expired on her relevance to this society, but perhaps she was never ready for prime time and still does not know how to connect with voters, as she demonstrated clearly in her previous runs for office. For Bill Whittle and Stephen Green, I'm Scott Ott. Thanks to the members at BillWhittle.com for making Right Angle possible.